Hi everybody, it's Amanda from LHL, and I published an article just a little bit ago about decluttering for school success. And this article and its title were actually created with ChatGTP. And we're gonna break it down. Not the whole article was actually created by an AI, but I just want to break down a little bit about what it did good with and what it was really lacking and where I filled in. And then we'll get on into the topic and we'll cover what the point of it was, right? What was the point of that nonsense? So anyway, the article title that it came up with was Decluttering for School Success: How an Organized Space Sets the Stage for Academic Triumph. Yes, that's great, right? So it generated from a simple phrase prompt, the list. Okay, if you want to take a challenge and see if you can spot where I added and I didn't add within its own phrases, so it's not sentence by sentence replacements. I added in paragraphs, we'll say it that way. I added in paragraphs, so if you want to take the time to see if you can spot where the AI wrote the article versus where I wrote the article, go ahead and stop the video now, go read the article now, and see if you can spot where the AI wrote the paragraph and where I wrote the paragraph. And then if you're not interested, we'll keep going. But come on back when you're done with that, and I will break down from this point on what it did versus what I did and what I think didn't work and needed more explanation. So the article introduction I thought was pretty good. The title was good, except that the article didn't answer the question that it posed in the title. So decluttering for school success, it definitely covered how an organized space sets the stage for academic triumph. Hyperbole, right? The triumph part, definitely hyperbole. But there is a lot of research on clutter and what that does to you mentally and how your brain processes that or has difficulty processing it. So there was a lot of things, a lot of places you could go with this article, and it didn't reference any of it. It came up with things that I would consider to be a natural byproduct, if not even a simile, to some of the other items on the list. So it was very fluffy. It definitely would have gotten marks of beating around the bush, is what I got called out on a test one time because I did not know the answer. But you might as well write some stuff, right? So anyway, all of the introduction was the AI. The whole title was the AI. And then each list item, and then the first paragraph for each list item, and then the conclusion paragraph. I may have added a sentence or two to the bottom of that. I think I did, but maybe as its own paragraph. Not sure. Anyway, let's just talk about those list items. The first one is improved focus, right? So they're saying that with, there's the robot. The robot is saying that you will have improved focus with a decluttered space. And this is true, definitely true. Some people will be inspired by clutter around them. They can be creative because of clutter around them, and I'm gonna loosely call it clutter. Usually that still requires organization to the things in your space. So some people need a lot of stuff in their space to feel inspired. Nothing wrong with that, but it needs to be organized. It needs to kind of, I don't know how to describe this right, but people who are this way will definitely know what I'm talking about. Like, you have things around you that inspire you to get in a certain mindset, and that is usually creativity. Usually. So besides that, most people, if you have less stuff around, it does improve focus. So the robot came up with basically that, and then didn't tell you anything about the research behind it. So that's disappointing. It's not yet that sophisticated. So far, I found this to be true with all of the AI writing tools, that they don't get very deep or very thorough with anything that they're writing. So it stays very high level, very fluffy. So each of those intro paragraphs for every topic, every list item I picked, were incredibly similar, just kind of reiterating the same thing. Okay, so first we had improved focus. And there's some really cool studies about this, and they're all similar. So I'll talk about the studies a little bit later, but they're also linked in the blog. So feel free, not all of them, but some of them are linked in the blog. I couldn't actually find the original study that I referenced, which has to do with the improved focus. Or actually, I think it started in reduced stress, but they're kind of related. I couldn't find that study. I read it in a book referencing the study, and so I haven't read the study myself, so couldn't find it again. Anyway, the second one was reduce stress and anxiety. So there's a lot of information coming out about how the brain calms itself down when it reinforces that the environment is safe. And we've got to be really loose in this day and age, in the modern world, first world problems, when your life really isn't in danger by your surroundings anymore. Like on a day-to-day basis, you pretty much have zero danger. This safety now means, can I make sense of the world around me quickly and ensure that everything's going to go as expected? Like, there's no threats, nothing to be concerned about at all here. So now a threat would be a to-do item, right? Something you haven't done that needs to be done, something that would at all cause you stress or anxiety. So it might be that you feel like if you move one item, you're going to have an avalanche of things come down on you. The other might be that you've lost something. That's a big stressor, right? That if you need to find your stapler, where's the stapler? Oh my gosh, where's the stapler? We'll have to ask that right now. I think it's in here. Yes, we're good. I got it. Stapler. Okay, just an example. My space is chaotic right now. This is my work office, and I'm moving it around and redesigning it to try to make better content, to buffer some of the street noise that I get. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, you're going to hear it. A lot of it probably traffic picked up when I decided to record, so it is what it is. But having a lot of things around us that we can't make sense of, lots of distractors, all of these things can increase your stress. That's why these things are very looped together, and I don't think I ever would have chose to organize the list this way myself. The third one is better time management. And I'm pretty sure they only based that one on, I keep saying they like it's a person, the AI, only based that one on whether or not, like how much time you're losing finding things, I believe. And that's kind of oversimplifying it. A good chunk of the problem is how long it takes you to get into a focused state when there's a lot of distractors, visual distractors, and there's some pretty neat studies on that too. So I do have those linked in the blog. The fourth one was enhanced productivity. So to me, that's a natural byproduct of focus and time management. So you're going to get more done if you're focused in shorter periods of time. You would get more done in each period of time. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it needs to be its own thing. It also was very fluffy in how it wrote the intro to that one. It's just a natural byproduct of the others. Number 5, improved memory. This one actually, I had no reason to believe, so I went researching. And there's some studies that are interesting. So the improved memory study really is coming out of trauma events that I saw. And I don't think this is really super applicable. the AI came up with a different theory with memory, and it just had to do with more focus, I think, honestly. That there were less distractors and you could remember things better because you were able to see them and review them and not have all these distractors. And the studies are similar, but they were doing it with traumatized patients. So it was something about improved recall of the traumatic situation, the details of the traumatic situation, and the environment, the story, and by not having a bunch of visual distractors around, basically. So you were able to calm yourself down, stay in a parasympathetic state, and calming yourself down, their environment was good, but there were other things going on, right? It wasn't just that they didn't have clutter. So, it's a little loose to say that that's directly related. But really, there's some neat stuff coming out about the improved memory. So feel free to follow that link and do some reading, but it is a very technical paper. It's interesting, but it's still loosely applied to studying. So let's keep that in mind. Very loose. Then the space for personal growth was another one. And that one, to me, again, is another byproduct that by having fewer distractors, you now have more time, and with the time, you can focus more on improvement. So you have more focus, you have more time, you naturally will self-improve. Sorry, this didn't need to be its own thing, I don't think. So improved sleep quality was the last one, and that is not unreasonable because we do have information about to do an active brain state triggers regarding sleep and its impact on sleep. So it does cause issues with trying to get to sleep. You don't usually wake up with a to-do. You have trouble quieting your mind to go to sleep because there's things around that are telling you, hey, you forgot to do this, you didn't finish your homework, you didn't clean the desk off. So this is especially true with workspaces that are in bedrooms. And we have a lot of them, right? That's very common for students. For some kids, it won't make any difference whatsoever. For other kids, it could make a lot of difference. So if they got all of their stuff done, they reduced their stress already by not having crazy amounts of things around, then of course they're going to have a better time sleeping unless they have other worries going on, which should be addressed differently. Okay, with all of that being said, the interesting research that I found, first I knew one that is about horizontal eye scanning, and I forget what they call it, there's a term, in therapy, where you follow a light going side to side, and your eyes just track the light and you try to recall a trauma. And they found that the brain naturally calms itself while scanning the horizon. So going back and forth and confirming that the environment is safe helped reinforce this, calm state that allowed them to then relive a trauma or revisit a trauma without reliving it. So they could stay calmer through that. And they've been using that for probably over 10 years, definitely for PTSD. I don't know if it's applied to anything else yet. But the idea is if you went for a walk and you're scanning your horizon, you're going to calm down because you get this constant reinforcement of safe, safe, safe. No lions out there, right? We're good. And interestingly, I've got another study linked in there, I think in the reduced stress subcategory. I'm not entirely sure. That one was about visual distractions. Okay, so let's be clear that includes more than just clutter, right? But visual distractions, having lots of little individual things around. I should have shot this from the other angle, and you can see all the cables I've got hanging down over there right now. because I switched systems and I was having trouble for quite a while getting it working right. So there's cables everywhere, there's plants everywhere, right? We've got office supplies everywhere, I've got furniture everywhere, right? Things are just absolutely chaos right now. But by not having things grouped together, all different, that this environment would be a really rough one to try to study in. One, because there's a variation of people who can handle higher amounts of visual distractions, and then you have what probably would be true of ADHD, that they don't handle visual distraction well, right? It's easy to go, oh, that plant, it's got some dead in it, it must need watering. Oh, that cable, I should really tuck that away. Oh, there's some trash on the table, why didn't I ever take that tag off, right? So there's a lot of things to catch your eye and distract you. Other people have very high thresholds and they can have a lot of stuff around and it's not going to keep them from doing their objective. But what was interesting in this study is that they found by grouping things together, so if you take the same level of stuff and it's all chaotically spread around, you're going to have a very high level of visual distraction, and wherever you are as an individual, you'll be distracted differently, right? So these visual distractors are the same. We're going to keep that the same. But then if you go group these things together so that it's like, oh, over there are the printer supplies, paper, printer stuff, right? And over there is, I don't have good examples here. It's a little messy. Art supplies are over here. You know, my portfolios are over there. Books over there, right? These categories lowered the impact that those visual distractors had in every individual. So wherever they were before, just categorizing the items lowers it. I thought that was fascinating. It was a very interesting concept to think about. So when we think about organization, most of us are probably looking for that kind of order that our brains can go, oh, that's the books. We don't need to worry about the books, right? And go, okay, office supplies are over there, we're good. They're in their container, not overflowing. I can find what I need. Whew, okay, we're good. And all of the categorizing just lowers that. Like, what is that weird thing sticking out that I swear I've never seen that before. And you won't have that higher visual distraction and then therefore mental distraction. Some people can ignore that weird thing sticking out that they don't remember was ever there. They're like, what is that? Did it break off? But there's quite a few people who, or at different times, were a little more stressed over or easily distractible. There are more people more distractible, and what we can do to help them is to reduce the visualness of it, right? So like here we've got mostly opaque bins that you can't really see through and you can't see over the top of, and so this is making it look like one thing. And that, you know, they say, oh, that's furniture, instead of being all the stuff inside of it. So I have some closed ones that would be like, oh, that's just the furniture. I don't have to worry about that. Your brain is categorizing and dismissing as a whole category then, which will help you go, whew, okay, now I can study. Now I can focus and get stuff done. So I hope you find this article interesting. If you did do the challenge, I'd love to know here or in the blog. Let me know what you identified as the AI and what you thought I wrote. I think it's pretty obvious. The AI writes like engineering school teaches you to do. So I could write like that, but I really don't want to. It doesn't have voice, in my opinion. But let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what you think of the links, because I thought they were really interesting. If you're not willing to check those out, that's fine. I summarized them in the blog too, kind of how they would relate to these points, not necessarily what the study actually did. But yeah, thank you very much. And check out the post for decluttering on school success. I'll put the link down below. And if you're looking for other ways to avoid procrastination clutter, or you want to know a little bit about what procrastination clutter is, check out the other videos I have. Thank you. Bye.